Bd32, DNA, Story and Guidance, The Magical Council, 32 out of 32. DNA, the guiding force of individuality. The guiding force of individuality. There is no need for comparing and competing. Quote, "Since you are like no other being ever created since the beginning of time, you are incomparable." Brenda Urland. End of quote. DNA's story. After Kalimubanko had taken its place as the governor of Crystalia, it was me, a drop of the ocean of love, the home of Kandu, that came to venture Crystalia. As a crystal child of light, I settled down in Orania, the lower crystal kingdom. And Kalimubanko observed me with care, for he knew he needed a team that would help him to keep life in Crystalia going. As a young child playing in the gardens of the castles of garments, located in the plains of dreams, Kalimubanko gave me the name DNA, representing the phenomena called individuality. At a young age, I had a hard time accepting anyone who was not like me. I wanted to stand out, looking the best and being the best in everything. While I grew up, I fought with my self-esteem and with everybody, for I was on the path to prove that I was different, forgetting that there are no two creations alike. I was the one responsible for a lot of fights within my environment, and many others followed, unfortunately, my example, fighting about who would be the leader of the tribe, family, community, and even countries. I always wanted to be number one and struggling when I was not. But I was just as much struggling when I became number one and trying to keep my position and image up. You too are still infected, as you are still comparing yourself in the group and fighting with other groups in endless forms, which have all ended up in wars. You can be at war with others, but you can also be at war with yourself by competing and comparing. I had a hard time when I was defeated and cried for days or became angry about it, but both experiences were not pleasant at all. I inspired others with building arenas and places where individuals were competing to be the best, which is still happening in your realm through the existence of sports. In most school systems, you are still honoring the best according to the standards you have set, and getting children at a young age into comparing and competing, instead of accepting their individual uniqueness. The world of doing business has also become a cutthroat phenomena. Then came the time that I understood that there was no defeat as long as I didn't get involved with competing and comparing, and realizing that everything and everybody was totally individual and unique. I also realized that there was no need to be so frantic about me in the future or comparing myself with whom I had been. Every stage of life has its unique adventure and experience. Although I understood that there was always something I could improve on, but without that intensity of competing and comparing. When I later in my life wanted to get more involved with my spiritual side and searching for the oneness in all, it was already too late to reverse the actions of competing and comparing. That seed had been sown inside myself and inside everybody as well, and now it was just a matter of learning to cope with it. By being busier to connect with that oneness and getting closer to Kandu again, where there are no differences, I was getting better with dealing with the phenomena comparing and competing, and I hope you as an individual take the same approach. The higher realms of the gods. Kalimubanko saw my potential at an early age and under his guidance trained me in every aspect and offered me a place in the higher realms of the gods, and I became the god of individuality. I was a great help for his plan, because I became one of the greatest helps for Kalimubanko, because everybody would be either busy with him or herself, or competing and comparing with others, or expelling all energy and not thinking about Kandu and their real self, and making no effort to get out of the realm of competing and comparing. Throughout the history of the higher realms of the gods, however, there had been many wars and battles, and I played, unfortunately, my part in it. I thought I was the strongest of all, and I showed off my powers. By letting everybody fight with each other, each one of us was unique, but it felt that we needed to prove this by conquering others. We all had our magnificent palaces and castles, and it was an exhausting trip, wanting to stand out even more, and wanting to have the most beautiful one. The work never stopped, and the comparing and competing never stopped. Touring my realm. At one point in time in the history of Crystalia, with the permission of Kalimubanko, I made my second home in a realm in which I could experience my energy in full. Here I had my playground, without having to battle with the other keepers, but where other problems arose. I went to the plains of dreams, to one of the castles of garments, and took the body I still have today, representing my purpose. In my realm we have 3 major cities, so visitors can experience what I represent and learn to work with this phenomena. Unique City. Unique City is a special place in which each creation was able to show its own uniqueness. Groups of houses, but each home not standing in its other shadow, are built as pieces of art. Each house has its own shape, size and colors that don't conflict with one another, and the details of each house make it impossible to make duplicates. The trees, the bushes, the plants and the flowers were also standing in groups, with none of it in it alike. Animals friendly to the people on earth, although of the same kind, move freely around, but each individual one looks very different through its bright colors, shape and profound individual features. It is really clear that every creature is totally individual and unique. With the inhabitants it is the same. All the colors of the rainbow with its variations were present, and the strong and individual different features like eyes and ears and noses and mouths are the evidence that there are no 2 creatures created alike, although they may look alike. The voices and the different languages which everybody spoke and how each individual moved made it even clearer. Lab City. In Lab City, every skyscraper, every car, every man-made tree, plant and flower, and everything else that was genetically manipulated in the laboratories, like food, animals and cloned individuals, all look exactly the same. The only real difference was the color and the name tag on it, and everything and everybody had a tag. Anybody entering the city needed to be formatted so they would not stand out to be different, other than the color which was given and the tag with a different name, in order to keep track on everything and everybody. However, looking under a microscope and checking one's fingerprint or a cell on a cell level or molecule level, discovering that nothing is the same. Brood City. In Brood City, everything was about competition, and the endless arenas and other complexes were erected to keep 365 days of the year games going. Every sport was part of these games, and with it a big industry of sport gambling took place. Individuals went there to the extreme to measure to be the best, and many hospitals had to be built for the injured, and this was now as well a big money maker. The sponsors, ranging from food and beverage producers, the beauty industry, banks, the car industry, cigarettes and alcohol, clothing and any appliance used in the household, kept financing, as it made them money. The big change. Having two main residences in the high realms of the physical gods and in my private realm, I was asked at one point in time by Maria Morrow to become a faculty member at the Magical University of Life located at the Sacred Archives. Morai being the principal who respected anybody and who was wise, and invited us all, the key masters, the keepers and guardians of the universe, and we, the keepers of conduct, received the name Divanas. Under his guidance, we all had an equal position and shared the knowledge of the universe and nature from our perspective with the students, and we all felt important. This was a great change. We turned back into love and stopped our wars, for we all knew that you needed all the help you can get in order to save yourself and your planet. For those amongst you who want to become more aware and who understand that I am part and parcel of you and within everything and everybody, I invite you going the journey and rediscovering all about me in my realm, or sit in my classroom at the university and learn more about the basics of life, or even connect with me through a home self-schooling system. All connections to me are an incredible experience, and the more you know, the better you can go through your life adventure. How I can help you in your life. Quote, there never were in the world two opinions alike, no more than two hairs or two grains. The most universal quality is diversity. Michel de Montaigne. End of quote. Your entire existence is based on comparing and competing, and you do not see the destruction it causes. I am DNA, the guiding force of individuality, and I remind you that everything and everyone in creation is totally individual and unique. That everything and everybody has a total individual and unique life experience, and that there is no need to compete or to compare. Situations, people, and things may look alike, but they are never identically the same. Nothing can ever be the same except for our soul, and on that level, everybody is the same. No two things created alike. Looking at each other, you may look alike, especially twins, but looking at the iris in the eye or taking a thumbprint, everybody is different. And in the laboratory, they are able to look inside your cell and finding out that the DNA, as it is called, is everyone's individual proof of being unique. Listen to two voices or look at people standing or moving about and imagine how you all think and process things. It is individual and unique for everyone. There are no plants, two trees, two animals, two bacteria, or not even two the same looking plastic bottles are exactly the same. There is always a difference. It is even the same with two cells of one organ, or even our skin. All of them are individual and unique, although they may look alike and have a similar function. It is also for that fact, when you get sick and you hear about bacteria and viruses, know that not even two of those are the same. Plus, they affect each individual person in a different way. And although it may look the same sickness, it is as well a total individual, unique experience and needs to be approached in this way. We are neither cattle nor robots. Wanting to be like somebody else. You may love and look up to your parents. You may like one of your friends very much. You may look up to any of your heroes in the movies or in sports, but know that you never can be exactly the same, because everybody is totally special. There is only one of each person in Crystallia, the creation. It is for this reason that you do not need to compare yourself with anybody. Each of you will have their own strengths and weaknesses. Each will have his or her own grades at school. Each will perform in a different way in arts and sports. You are not here to become robots, all liking to be like one another, and it is also for this reason that you do not need to compete in order to stand out. Wanting to be better than someone else. When your life is based on comparing and competing, you will have a lot of struggle in your life. When you do not become like the one you are looking up to, you feel defeated. And when you become better than someone else and stay in the game of competing and comparing, you will have a hard time to stay on the top and be the best. There will be always somebody better than you. And you can see this very clearly in sports, where every year new athletes come and breaking the old records. There is no need to feel superior, and there is no need to feel deprived, for you all have a unique something. Learn to improve yourself. Improve in any of your skills for the sake of the experience in art and music and sports or any field. And know that when you will end up in the world of competition, that you will have to pay a big price for that. Anybody in that competitive world pays a price because you go beyond the limits that causes damage to your health. An athlete possibly gets injuries. A successful businessman may not see his wife and children enough, or his health is suffering. I do not tell you not to experience competing and comparing, but stay aware that everybody is individual and unique. And it is also for this very fact that you cannot compare others with each other. Everybody is special. Each experience is different. Then I have something else to share with you. As you compare also in your foods, and unfortunately mostly you are looking for the same robot taste. Know that actually each apple, even from the same tree, looks different and tastes totally unique. So do not call it the taste of apples, but the special taste of each individual apple and that taste of each food item. The modern world is all about making robots out of you, because when you have the things others have, you feel accepted and you feel secure. You now have restaurants all over the world offering the same food and with the same look and the same taste. This is not an adventure. It is the same that when you have a certain look, that you will be accepted. Stop the nonsense. You are all here on your individual adventure, and even all the things you see, touch, hear, smell, taste and sense are not in need to be compared. They are all individual experiences, all totally individual and unique. Feelings, tastes, places, faces and situations may look alike, but they are never 100% the same. Beyond the uniqueness. Look beyond the individual forms and see Kandu in all, because that essence is in all, otherwise nothing could exist. Realize that there is no need to compete or compare, because in essence you are all the same and Kandu. There is no need to compare, there's no need to compete with others or with yourself, nor the need to compare yourself with yourself and others. Creation is the place to experience the individual creations and individual adventures. Individuality. Everything and everybody is totally individual and unique. Nothing is the same. It is, however, easy to get involved in comparing and competing, a very destructive game.